Marketing is the only function in any business where everybody thinks that they're an expert. Yeah, think about it. Nobody tells the CFO how to run a balance sheet. Nobody tells the COO how to build a supply chain, but your neighbor, your boss's spouse, the intern, the cleaner, yeah, the lady in the canteen, they've all got ideas on your next campaign. You know, can we make the logo bigger? My wife didn't understand the ad. I just don't like the color blue. Do you want to go on TikTok? Yeah, does it sound familiar? Okay, this is one of the biggest traps that the CMOs face, okay, because if you start to play whack-a-mole with every opinion, you lose objectivity and therefore you lose your sanity as well. Okay, I'm Dave, I'm an ex-CMO turned performance coach, and over the past year I've used all my experience from boardrooms to endurance races to now psychology coaching to help ambitious leaders reset, refocus and rise. Okay, and I've seen inside the role myself. I've lived the pressure, and I coach now CMOs as well who are right in the thick of it. And here's what I know to be true. Okay, marketing is uniquely vulnerable to subjective opinion. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. Marketing as a function is uniquely vulnerable to subjective opinion, and unless you've got a way to filter out that noise, you're going to drown out in all of it instead. Okay, let me tell you a quick story. I was once presenting a strategic brand campaign to a board. Okay, we'd done the research, the fan insight was rock solid, the creative was strong, the data even said we were on track to win, and halfway through it the investors said my son didn't like the ad. And just like that, the conversation went sideways, completely shifted, and weeks of work, solid data, a lot of money, expert opinion was overshadowed by a spotty teenager's throwaway comment. Right, in my head he was spotty, at least anyway. Okay, and he had poor taste. Now that's beside the point. It's not that the investor was being malicious. No, it's that everybody feels qualified to have an opinion on marketing. You have to accept it and deal with it, because unlike finance or operations, marketing is visible, it's creative, and it's emotional, and therefore it's dangerous. Okay, so if you start to internalize all those opinions, you're going to lose objectivity, and you're going to stop asking what does the data say and start asking what does everyone think, or worse, what does the CEO think? Okay, and that is a recipe for disaster right there. And this is the trap around why everyone thinks they're a marketeer, right? It shows up in different ways. Opinion overload is the first one. Every campaign becomes death by 1,000 comments, and it leads to the paralysis of making good decisions, because you start to second guess yourself because you're trying to please everybody, and then you lose authority because you're trying to bend every opinion, and you stop being seen as the leader of marketing. You start being seen as the admin of it instead, and the facilitator of ideas, right? It's like Naval Ravikant said, and I love this: if you want to make the wrong decision, ask everybody. So how do you manage all this? How do you break free from it? Well, you have to build a shield, okay? And the shield is really simple. It's 2 words: insight and impact. Every time someone throws an opinion at you, run it through that filter. Does this opinion reflect real customer insight? Will this change drive measurable impact on the business? If the answer to that is no, then it's noise and ignore it. If the answer to those questions are yes, great, take it on board. So let's make this practical, right? So when someone says, I don't like the colour, instead of defending it or debating it or agreeing with it or disagreeing with it, just say, interesting, let's look at the customer insight. The insight shows that X% recall happens with this colour, and it drives X% higher click-through, and that's the impact that we're after. And suddenly you're not fighting opinions with opinions, you're anchoring it in something that goes back to facts and insights, and something that's bigger than you and bigger than them. Okay, so there's a reframe around all of this, and that is that your job as a CMO is not to silence opinions, and it's not to have a strong opinion either. It's to rise above them completely and to filter the noise and protect the signals, because when you stop chasing approvals and start anchoring everything to insight and impact, you then reclaim your authority, and you move from being the person who listens to everyone to the person who leads with clarity. Okay, and that's how you escape the trap of everybody thinks that they're a marketeer. So ask yourself, are you letting opinions dictate your strategy, or are you holding the line with insight and impact? Okay, because in the long run, only one of those is going to keep you credible. Okay, in the next video, I'm going to tackle another brutal challenge of a CMO, and that's when the business operations fail and hijack marketing, complaints, product issues, firefighting. It can all derail the very best strategies and campaigns, and it's how you keep your sanity when that happens. So hit subscribe, share it with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's in the midst of it. In the meantime, keep turning up. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.